done it proper now. I'm going to introduce you now to our MC.
Clap it for yourself, Rufus.
No, he's not Buford. What's the other one? Pater?
Move on.
Move on. MoveOn.org. Anyway, all of you know him, all of you love him. Well, some of you. Mr. Tom Wilkins.
You know, Bob, I'm a little bit confused, which I am most of the time anyway, but I heard a little bit of Dick's show this morning, and Dick said, I have Bob Beers here with the GCGGG, and you didn't correct him at all.
I've given up direction.
You correct, so is it still the GGGG?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to the GG. I have renamed it the Giant Grasshoppers Gathering Guild. That's my last joke. I would like to introduce our dais right up here. First of all, everyone knows Judge Rick Davis sitting here. Hold the applause down. Go ahead. Sheriff Mike McCormick. And the face you may not recognize on the end, he is the Director of Operations of LifeNet. That's Ronnie Weaver down there. This will be the side that's going to explain why this is a good idea for what we're doing tonight with the road. Right, the right side, as Rick calls it. Over on my left, we have a distinguished panel here. Who draws flies everywhere he goes. We have
Sitting next to you,
I know, they didn't show up till I got there. He's part of the Garland County Tax Alliance. Your friend and mine, Mr. George Pritchard. Okay, the way we're going to work this, we're running close to time here. We're going to go ahead and start with you all right over here. And we're just going to let this kind of flow, give you all the time you'll want, Judge. Now, George, you have 5 minutes to review anything that is going on over here, okay? Okay, we'll talk about that later. At any rate, we're going to go ahead and let them, they have a presentation, the three of them do, and so here's Judge Rick Davis. Rick, y'all are going to have to hold this mic to be heard. That's fine, you can do that, just don't walk away with it.
All right. This is going to work. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Go ahead.
I don't need to look at that. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I got a clicker over here on the left. Right? Well, thank you. I want to thank Bob and the GGGG for having this meeting, and Dr. Jack for being here and telling the Tea Party, announcing the Tea Party, and for all of you for showing up, because I do appreciate your time. And if you see that screen above you, it says Pave It Forward. This is an educational campaign to provide accurate information to the public and answer questions so voters have the facts when they go to vote. That's basically what we're doing. I think I could use a bigger table. That's all right. What is Pave It Forward? Well, basically it's to address deteriorating roads and infrastructure. You know, 70% of the calls that I get every day is about roads. They're either too narrow, they have drainage problems, or they have potholes. That's something I hear every day. Bridge infrastructure. We have about 110 in the unincorporated area of Garland County. And if you look at our list of bridges, you're going to find out they were built in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. We have some that's a little later than that, but they're a lot less later than they are in that time frame. And so if you guys are out driving and you cross a bridge and you see these weight limit signs on it, that's basically because the state has marked those as insufficient and they won't withstand the weight limits. And we have our buses and children traveling across those bridges every day. It's kind of bad. In 2015, when this all kind of started, there was a group that did a survey. And the survey identified that roads and traffic is the #1 concern facing Garland County within that survey. #2 was the environment. Basically, there's no other avenue to raise $30 million as required to get the state's share offered. And so, you know, I tried to negotiate this thing, and this went on for quite a while trying to get that. I didn't want to pay $30 million. But the reality is, if we're ever going to get the expressway extended, that's what's going to have to happen. And I think rather than me telling the state that we don't want your money for these improvements within Garland County, I think it's you, the voters, that need to make this decision. So that's basically what we're going to do, is let you choose. This tax is a temporary tax, with the county having the total responsibility of managing the money because it is a capital improvement project. This will pay off in a 5 to 6 year time frame. It can only be used for road infrastructure, road improvements, drainage improvements, and bridge improvements. That's what it's for. Next slide. Campaign overview, a little bit of history about how we got to where we were at. This all started about 2.5 to 3 years ago when the state had a public hearing up on Park Avenue. They had a proposal to widen Park Avenue from the 5 and 7 junction to the Gorge Road and neck it down on both ends. And there was quite a bit of public outcry over that in the Park Avenue area, as well as myself, because I thought that was a waste of money. This expressway project's been on the books for 10 to 15 years. I thought it would have been better use of the money to fix and overlay Park Avenue, fix it where it has some turnouts, and put this money towards finishing this project. And so that's kind of what got the meeting started between the state and a group of people and myself. And that's basically when I found out we're going to have to pay $30 million. I had a sticker shock when they said that. And so through the negotiations, they just refused and said we had to come up with the money. So we formed a committee. This committee was made up of citizens, some appointed by the city of Hot Springs, some appointed by the county. We had some that was from the chamber that had an economic development interest, but you know, they worked for about a year trying to come up with a plan of how to do this. And what you see before you today is basically what came out of the recommendations out of that committee. They formed a plan to raise $50 million, and it was for addressing critical road issues throughout the country. $30 million of that was going to go to the matching so that we could get $35 million that the state has offered for the MLK Expressway. The remaining 20 will be used for road projects across the county. The MLK extension, you should see that on the slide now. The primary project in this referendum is the MLK Expressway. It will be about 5.7 miles long to finish it from the end of the expressway now to the 5 and 7 junction. The right-of-way will be purchased for a future 5-lane, but due to the expense of building a 5-lane, it will be built in its original form as a good 2-lane scenic highway with wide shoulders and good drainage, something we don't have a lot of in Garland County. There possibly could be 2 at-ground crossings in this expressway. One would be Mill Creek, the second would be Promised Land. And if you look at that map, I think there'll be 3, but we'll see what they do. And we can't promise that until they get through with design. And basically, consideration of this is going to be the recharge area for the hot water springs. They're going to be a negative impact decision on whether these crossings will be allowed to tie into the expressway or not. But that's, I think there will be 2, maybe 3. But we'll see as design progresses along. You know, I don't think we need to take the hot water recharge zone very seriously. That's what makes the national park, and that's what makes Hot Springs what it is. So, next slide is what is paving forward. Well, you can read the caption up there, but currently there's a 5-year federal funded highway plan. We haven't had that in a long time. Arkansas will receive about $250 million, but they'll have to match some of that money to get that $250 million. If Garland County does not commit to raising $30 million, we will lose the money promised by the state. Finishing the MLK, it will be removed from the 2016 STIP plan, which is a 5-year plan. It's called the State Transportation Improvement Plan. And the money will go to another part of the state that's willing to cost share. They're doing that all the time. We also have a letter saying that if we put up this match, the state will complete this project with no additional cost to Garland County. We have that in writing. Again, the referendum will raise $50 million. 30 will go to the expressway. 20 million will go to other local priority projects. The allocation will be made to the county areas based on the 2010 census. Garland County will receive about 12.3 million. Fountain Lake about 104,000. Hot Springs will get 7.3 million for projects they identify. Lonsdale will get about 20,000. Mountain Pine will get about 160,000. So the money will be dispersed according to population. The next slide will show you some possible projects for the unincorporated areas of Garland County. And I'll just tell you, this is a condensed list of suggested roads in the unincorporated area. I had a 3-page list before I cut this down. They are all collector roads with high traffic counts and major safety issues. If this passes, we will do a traffic study and gather safety data and determine, traffic count and safety study and determine which will hit the priority list and which one will give us the most benefit for the money we have to spend. So this is no particular order at all. Next slide, Fountain Lake and Hot Springs, Lonsdale, and Mountain Pine. They'll also identify the projects that will be paid for out of their allocation. The county will assist the smaller towns to help them achieve the most bang for their buck. We may even allow them to use our yearly contracts for the county paving program to help them get through this and get something accomplished. Hot Springs has the whereabouts to identify their own projects and move forward with that. We'll be glad to assist them in any way we can, but that's basically how it's going to work. Next slide is community benefits. You know, I hear people say, a few people have said to me that if my road is not on this list, then I'm not going to vote for this project. Or why should I pay for the other parts of the county to be able to travel easier? You know, I truly believe whatever is good for Hot Springs or for other parts of the county is good for all. Increased sales and development in any part of the county results in increased funds that can be used in all parts of the county. I'm asking everyone to please look at the bigger picture when deciding how you're going to vote on this issue. How many out here tonight live on 70 West? The biggest part of the population. I live out there too. I don't know if all of you can remember when that was a 2-lane road. A bridge that if it snowed or iced, you didn't get home for 8 hours after work. Hey, I've been in that predicament multiple times. That part of the county now has a 5-lane highway with a nice bridge and a pretty good road. We may be outgrowing that out in that area, but you know, I think that back when all that went into place, I think a lot of people from the rest of the county helped pay for that with their tax money. So now I think it's time to consider the rest of the county and let's do some things that benefits all the county. And I think this expressway is going to benefit all the county. You know, good roads, water, and sewer is key to the future of Garland County's economical growth and development. I believe that. Next slide. Economic development, safety, convenience, leverage, fair to everyone. We will discuss these areas in the next few slides, but I also want to point out another plus in that if the money for the 5/8 sales tax goes to major collector road improvements, then the money from our regular budgets will be able to address road issues on local roads. This is something we haven't been able to do because most of our budget money is spent on high traffic areas and things that need to be done. So this will allow us to do a little more in other areas that we haven't been able to do before. And I'm sure this is going to work for the cities as well. It'll make their budget go a little farther. Economic development, $200 million in disposable income in the northern part of Garland County and Hot Springs Village. Infrastructure improvement, historical downtown developments as a scenic pedestrian destination. You know, there's a lot of people in the northern part of the county, and there's probably more people outside the Hot Springs Village Gate than there is inside the Hot Springs Village Gate. There was a study by the University of Arkansas that said we have over 200 million plus in disposable income in the northern part of the county with Hot Springs Village. Good access to Hot Springs and Garland County major shopping areas and hospitals will help stop some of the money that is currently going to Saline County and being spent and bring it into the shopping areas in Hot Springs. This will help our tax revenues. It will also help us in transportation of goods and services across the county. Freight traffic is a problem in downtown and other parts of the county. In the northern part of the county right now, we have tractor trailer trucks that are trying to get from 7 North to 227 to get to Mid-America Park, and they're tearing our roads to pieces. And it's just costing us a lot of money. This will prevent a lot of that stuff. It will also help historical downtown become more safer, a destination and not just a pass-through for truck traffic. Next slide, safety and convenience. Quicker access to hospitals, better access to shopping, safer roads with less heavy traffic improvements, and there will be some improvements to overburden interchanges in this deal as well. You know, first responders coming from the northern part of the county will not have to come down Park Avenue, Central Avenue, and Gulf Gorge to get to the hospitals. And tonight, Ronnie Weaver with LifeNet is going to give us a little insight on that. So, Ronnie, would you please?
First of all, thank you all for asking us to participate in trying to gather this information. One of the things I'd like to say is, you know, LifeNet, like most larger EMS services, is really data-driven. Almost every bit of, or almost all the things we do as far as ambulance movement, positioning our ambulances, posting our ambulances, always evaluating the closest, most appropriate routes to medical facilities. We're constantly looking at that data. But with this project, we really don't have any data to look at. So we can really only anticipate. So what I've brought, or what data I do have, I've taken 40 ambulance trips from Highway 5 and 7 junction and split them up between National Park and St. Vincent's. And I just would like to kind of give you some numbers here. And this is actual fictional data. On average, going to St. Vincent's from 5 and 7 junction, on average it takes us 22 minutes and 5 seconds. 90% of the time, it takes us 34 minutes and 31 seconds to go from 5 and 7 junction. Going to National Park, it takes us 18 minutes and 19 seconds. And 90% of the time, it takes us 24 minutes and 33 seconds to go to National Park. Without that data, we can only anticipate that it's going to be quicker. There's a lot of reasons, if you know, traffic, time of year, time of day, you know, it's seasonal. When there are certain delays, especially in the quarter from downtown during race season. I mean, all these things we have to take into consideration to make sure that we're taking the appropriate routes. Another thing, it's not just getting our ambulances and doing the right thing in the best interest of our patients, but it's also getting a return ambulance, an ambulance that can turn around from the hospital and get back into their for the village or the northern Garland County to their service area at a timely fashion in the event that fourth emergency comes in, because we only have 3 ambulances stationed in the northern Garland County in Hot Springs Village. So it benefits the patient 2 ways, not just getting into the facility in a timely manner, but getting our resources back to that community in a So we can, again, really only anticipate that without real data. And, the road's not built yet, so we can really just anticipate and expect that it's going to be quicker. Another thing is that if you look at North Garland County and Northeast Garland County, if we ever had a situation out there where we needed additional resources, we had a mass casualty situation inside the gates of the village or on the outer perimeters of the village, Highway 5 or all the way up 7, where we had multiple patients and our resources are exhausted and we have to request mutual aid from other services, I believe we can anticipate that those resources would get there quicker to us if they had an alternate route. And same thing with us being alone out there in those areas, making emergency calls if we need law enforcement assistance. And it would also give the law enforcement an alternative route to get to us, we anticipate quicker as well.
Thanks, Ron. With the expressway extension, it will also be quicker and safer and easier for law enforcement to get to one side of the county to the other. Sheriff McCormick's here tonight, and I'll just tell you, we've already bought one building on Park Avenue from a sheriff's car running through it, so I don't want to buy any more. This would be a good thing. But I'll let the sheriff elaborate on that.
Thank you, Rick. There we go. Thanks. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. And for those that know me very well, know that I'm actually a very conservative individual. In fact, I would hold myself as one of the most conservative office holders in Garland County. And I hate taxes. And I hate every time that I pull through McDonald's and get a 99-cent iced tea that it actually going to cost me $1.12. I cuss it every time I drive through.
I go to the county line.
Thanks, George. But my number one priority is public safety here in Garland County. And on many levels, northern Garland County is very isolated from the rest of Garland County. And it's isolated because of the natural barriers. It's isolated because of the mountains. It's isolated because of the rivers. It's isolated because of the lakes. I've been in law enforcement a long time, and you have to work within your resources and within your boundaries. At the Sheriff's Department, on a good night, we have 5 patrol units. I've mandated that we never fall below 4, and that's tough at times. And those cars are all over Garland County all of the time. Perfect scenario, we have zones within Garland County divided into 4 regions. And if we don't have a hot call any individual location, that's where they stay. They stay spread out on a regular basis. But that's really the exception and not the rule. If it wasn't that I felt so sure and that it's a gigantic issue for Garland County, I would not be supporting adding any type of new tax upon the citizens of Garland County. And for me to do that, I think this is a huge, huge issue. It can save lives. It will save lives, and it'll save lives quickly. It's not going to be one of these things that, hey, somewhere down the road it may save a life. This is going to save lives on a regular basis. I've heard from people in different areas of Garland County say, well, hey, that's northern Garland County, that's not our problem. It is our problem. It's all of our problems. If we have a hot call up in the northern part of Garland County, those deputies that are normally patrolling the west and east part of Garland County are going to be in the northern part of Garland County. And it's going to take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes longer to get there now than it would if this extension is approved. So proper allocation of manpower is critical within the Sheriff's Department. I mean, we live on a very, very, very tight and stringent budget. This is something that our grandkids down the road will benefit from it. Public safety is tough, but when we have an opportunity to improve our infrastructure to this level, I really want the public to look at this thing hard. And I appreciate George, and I know he's going to make a lot of good points, but I don't think anyone could question what this actually would add to public safety within Garland County. I've actually, and as we've already discussed, it's hard to calculate the exact savings that will take place in the future by the extension of the expressway, if in fact does take place. But I feel confident it will speed up that process anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the traffic patterns that are going on within downtown Hot Springs. It's not a very complicated issue to me. I think it's a wise thing to do, and I think once everybody looks at all the facts and figures, I think it'll be an easy decision for them. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. You know, some of the other projects for consideration out of the $20 million is number 1, 270 West and MLK Expressway and Weston Road. 70 West, MLK Expressway and Weston Road again. These will be cost share projects with the county, the city, and the state. And I know these intersections that they have had high traffic counts and safety issues involved in them. These are some that we can't promise until we see the benefits versus the cost, and working with the city to see if that's a selection process they want to go through. That will come more when design starts on it after this passes. Next slide is leverage. 30 million from Garland County gets 35 million from the HTD. State gets federal funds. If Garland County does not vote to issue the bonds, the matching fund will go to another part of the state. That's a reality. If the referendum does not pass, basically the money from the state will go to another part of the state that was willing to cost share. We will lose 20 million worth of road improvements across the entire county. The expressway will be removed from the 5-year STIP plan, and who knows when that's ever going to be considered again. Probably not in my lifetime. Maybe yours. Dr. Jack will live longer than I will. I'm pretty sure of that.
Hope so.
Yeah.
It's going to be a race to the finish.
Yeah. Basically, the county and the cities will continue to operate off of the existing budgets, which in 2022, when the state half-cent sales tax goes away, the county will be operating with $900,000 less than it currently is. You know, I did a little math. We got a GIS department for the county, and they've been doing a road study on how many roads that the county is, you, the taxpayers, are responsible for. Right now, we're about 66% through with that study. We're estimating around 1,800 miles of road that we have to maintain, and 75% of those are paved in some form or fashion. There's 1,350 miles of road that have some sort of paving on it. Not very good, but some sort of paving. The average lifespan for a chip and seal road is a maximum of 12 years before you need to resurface that. If you average that out, we should be paving approximately 112 miles a year just to keep up with the lifespan of a road. And if you want to know how much we're paving 23 miles, and because of the half-cent sales tax, we've upped that to 31 miles. So we're paving about a quarter of what we can actually, or what we should actually be paving. We're falling behind every year, and that's a disaster waiting to happen the way I look at it. Next slide. Fair to everyone. This is no tax increase. This is currently what we have. The tax sunsets when the bonds are paid off. Every town in Garland County gets a share, paid by millions of annual visitors to Hot Springs and Garland County, in addition to the residents. Referendum keeps the current level of sales tax where it's at. The road 5/8 cents would only replace the detention center 5/8 when it sunsets. As outlined before, every town gets an allocation. Some people have come up to me and said we need to put a millage on, not a sales tax. Might have been George, I don't know. But
Now, Judge, don't accuse me of that now.
But the reality is, you know, I think it's only fair that the people who use the roads should assist in the cost of the roads. Property owners, renters, tourists, and the over 3,000 tourists that come here every year should help pay for this infrastructure.
3 million.
3 million.
3 million.
3 million.
3,000
tourists is 3 million.
I'm sorry, left to zero. Next slide should be additional information. More detailed information is on the website at gcpaveitforward.com. When you go to the website, make sure you click on all the tabs in order to get the information, all the information that's on there. We have some handouts in the back, but I think the website has a little more details to it. Again, the purpose of this is to make sure that you, the voters, have the correct information when you decide on how you're going to vote for this issue. Next slide, voting information. Early voting starts on June 21st. Election day is on June 28th. We're going to have over 20 polling stations open. And thanks to Sarah Smith and the Election Commission, you can now vote at any one of those 20 that's convenient for you to vote at. You don't have to vote out by your house anymore. And you know, I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote. This is not a family and friend deal. You can tell by the 20 polling stations. We want everybody to get out. I know that's what George has said in the past, but I want more people to vote than my family and friends. Getting close to the end of this. Hang on.
Can I get you a drink yet?
Oh, I got one.
Let me ask you a question about
Hold on just a second.
voting stations.
We agreed to do it after the fact, so I'm sorry.
Next slide is GarlandCountyPaveItForward.com. You're going to find benefits to the city and county residents, individual organization endorsements, frequently asked questions, voting dates and polling locations, and how do you get involved if you want to get involved with this program. The website has that information. When we get to that point, Tom Lutzus will answer any questions, and I got something I'm going to ask you at the end of this day. So, thank you. I'm done.
Once again, we're going to let George get up here and talk, and then we'll open up to questions. So, Ray, I'll call on you first, okay?
I'm used to shouting, I don't use mics.
Car racing about a year.
Yeah, Judge Davis and I rode a car races a couple weeks ago. He's texting me and he finally yells at me because I never looked at my phone. Well, I could have saved the judge about 25 minutes there because I don't disagree with much about what he said. I do think the most conservative elected Garland County official is Tim Stockdale sitting back there. No disrespect to you, Mike.
I said one off.
The one up. So you're number 2 in my book. This is about tax. You know, this is a road. Would this road be good? You know, if they had widened Central, I could get up and down it during the race meet. But I chose to live off of Central Avenue by the First Baptist Church and right across from Oaklawn Racetrack. And you don't owe me a double-deck road, and you don't owe me widen it out 6 lanes. Now, the state promised they was going to build this road. Did they lie? I'm not going to say that. Did they renege? They did. And why did they renege? They reneged because we found some things with our treasure here in our community with the hot springs. And it put it on hold, and, you know, we fell off the list. Well, now, Josie Hernandez isn't Hernandez, right? She's not here tonight because I had one question for her. Would there be any possible chance when we do this route, we might run into hot springs again and have to shut it down again after we pass this bond issue? and we're on the hook for $55 million, $5 million in the bond daddies that go laughing away from us every time we do that. And then we got 20 million going to the county. And I agree. I don't agree that we don't have all those needs. I didn't disagree with that when I sat on the Quorum Court, when Judge Davis and I were elected at the same time. We came in, and the Quorum Court's done a good job, and they've been good stewards of the money. Now, how many people in this room besides Larry Griffin up here live in Hot Springs Village? Wow. Well, thank you, sir. I wish some of your other people would have come down and spent some time with us, because
Clay does.
no, Clay doesn't live in Hot Springs Village.
Fountain
Lives in Fountain Lake. Yeah, okay. But I'm not sure where Clay is. Clay, I'll count you as HSB guy, okay? I wonder where they all are. I've interviewed a number of people from Hot Springs Village. You know what they tell me? They tell me, man, it'd be nice to have that road. It really would. Man, I don't know if it's worth that much money and if I want to pay for it. So I can't even find people there that are close. Now, I interviewed conservative people, and I didn't do 400, and I'm sure there's a lot up there that want it. I had a gentleman up there at Clay's Hot Springs Village Tea Party meeting. He said, why in the world would you be against that road? That road helped me. And I said, how do you like about paying for it? What about paying for the other 20 million or whatever we do down there? Well, I'm not so sure. So I'm not going to argue that the road would save some time, might save some lives. It probably will save some lives, but it takes quite a while to get out of the village to the 5 and 7 junction. So I think that it would be good and that we would have saved a little time, but I don't think that's the primary reason for it. We went from a 4-lane road to a 2-lane road. I'm not saying that's bad. Alan Clark back there, Senator, he said if there wasn't Mill Creek, Alan, you can correct me if I'm quoting you incorrectly, he said there wasn't a Mill Creek exit, he didn't think he'd get through the legislature that he would support it, something to that effect. Well, I understand that. A 2-lane road, 5.7 miles long, with one exit, or one entrance, and one exit, so to speak, whichever direction you're going, you can call whatever you do. You know, that seems to be a lot of money. Now, we come along, and I look at the 20 million that we're going to put in the county, I think we're bribing the people. You know, we'll give you this so that you'll support this, so that they'll support this, and after a while, you know, we're going to be out there for 5-8 cents for probably closer to 6 to 7 years, and we're going to be doing that. Now, at the same time, I might point out that Republican Senator Sample is one of the people leading it. Let's put another 8-cent gas tax in and another 11-cent gas tax in, and then let's let those sunset. And then, after they sunset, we'll put another tax in to replace that tax. Now, the jail tax is going to expire. Judge Davis is absolutely right. And it was a temporary tax, it's going to sunset. But you know, 2 months after it does, if we pass this one, we got another temporary tax. Now what Judge Davis will tell you too, because Judge Davis and I had this conversation, when this one's over, the then sitting county judge and the then sitting Quorum Court will have another list, because our needs will never ever be filled. Now, I believe the people that live in Buckville, I believe the people that live at the county line out there where I go into Montgomery County when I go out that road going to Oklahoma, and I believe the people that live in Hot Springs Village, when they bought their property, they knew what the routes were to get to Hot Springs, to get to Benton. It is no further today than it was then. Now, I'm not opposed to building this road. If the state would have built it, I'd be as happy as a pig in slop if they had done that 5 years ago. They wasn't coming and asking me for any money. They didn't pick my pocket. And I like Judge Davis's list of things that he's got. That he wants to do. I really don't like the thought of giving it to a citizens committee, but that's my personal preference. I think they're the least capable. They're more corrupted than any organized organization you can come up with. But we're going to do that, and we're going to look at those lists, and that's going to be good. And we might do some things. We can do some really good things. Why haven't we been asking for $20 million to do this in the county before? Because no one, I'm not, no disrespect, Judge, I wasn't hearing let's propose a tax to take care of these bridges and all of this. And Judge and I have had conversations about infrastructure. He's right. Did you hear me? He's right. But still, I object I object to another 5/8 cent tax. I thought we were going to get to enjoy that little bit of money in our pocket for a while, and here we are, we're going to do this, we're going to build a $30 million road. After we've been blackmailed by a quasi-mandate from the state of Arkansas that says, if you don't give us $30 million, we're not going to build this road. We're going to punish you. Well, do you know who's going to get all the money in the future in Arkansas? Anybody been up to that new museum up there in northwest Arkansas? Because that's the only place in Pulaski County that I believe that the counties are wealthy enough to pay these bribes or these demands that the state is asking us to do. Now, at the end of the day, when y'all go to vote, I respect your vote. I respect each and every one of you. I respect the outcome of the election. But I'm telling you, you got 5/8 that's about to expire. Judge Davis, Quorum Court, you gentlemen, and I want to particularly commend you. You did a great job, went off the court before it was done. Did a great job. It's going to go away. And we got a jail, and it's helped all of our community. Now this 5/8 road, this 5/8 cents, 3/8 cents is going to go to that bypass up there, and it's going to save some time. But that's 60% approximately of what we're going to do. And at the end of the day, the people in the village will benefit, and they'll benefit more. Judge Davis was again correct. Everybody pays for everybody. But I don't think we need that road. You can come down Fox Pass, you can come down 5 and 7, you can go across Gulf of Gorge, you can go out the North Gates, you can go down 128. I mean, how many routes and how convenient do we want it to make for everybody? I mean, Reggie Cowan's not here tonight. He said, boy, during that race meet, I had a hard time getting my office. He said, I just finally had to turn off Central Avenue, and I had to go, and I come in backwards. He said, you know, it took me 5 minutes longer. 5 minutes. Now, this will save 12 minutes. The gentleman over here is right, and, you know, our new sheriff, Mike McCormick, has done a great job. He's placing his people strategically. But, man, I got to tell you what, if you're sitting out at on the west side, 270, out there around Burl's Barbecue, whatever, well, you're not going to, I don't think they're going to run down there and get on that bypass and cut it all the time. We better get some people there closer. We do not have enough law enforcement officers. We do not have enough in the city. We do not have enough in the county. But we do not have enough money to fund more. Isn't that the issue, Judge? Mike? It's money, isn't it? It's not about anything but money,
Are
because
you making a suggestion?
no, I'm just telling you that there's plenty of needs in this city. There's plenty of needs. There sits Director Foley. Director Foley would like a lot of things in the city. He's not necessarily wrong. But where's the money going to come from? Now, you want to pick my pocket for 5/8, it's not going to make a big difference to me. But I know people in this community that I see all of the time that 5/8 cents doesn't sound like much, but they're scraping just to buy their medications to do whatever. Now, we still have to understand we're a poor community. I did a little survey because this is 5/8 sales tax, and because Representative or Senator Samples proposing these new gasoline tax, do you know that the gasoline tax in every state around us is lower than ours? Do you know that it would be probably 30% lower if he gets his first one in, or if they got the second one? Now, Governor Ashe, he says, no, we're not going to do that. And then he says, we got to offset anything we do. Well, people, I'm looking for an offset in Garland County. You want 5/8 cents more? Tell me where I get a savings, because if the governor's willing to give me a savings, whenever I'm going to have to pay more gasoline tax, I'd like to see that. Now, I don't believe the governor either, so don't get carried away. Don't think I believe him. But then we're talking just about a tax. We're not talking about a road. We're not talking about all these other things. All these things that they mentioned, we need. But I cannot go to the voting booth and justify voting for 3/8 of a cent to go to this road 5.7 miles long for people that chose to live where they live when they have 4 to 5 alternate routes. Now, Judge Davis, be surprised, I think I've kind of told him this, but you know, if someone brought back that $20 million to me on this local stuff and said what we're going to do, and it's going to get spread all over the county, and we're not going to spend $30 million on this road, and the state $35 million, you know, you might get me. Okay? But you're never going to get me on this issue. Thank you.
I'm Mike McCormick, Sheriff here in Garland County. And just to make it clear on my stance on the continuation of the 5/8 sales tax for extending the bypass, I'm focused strictly towards public safety. When it comes to taxes, I'm as a general rule opposed. However, I'm passionate about public safety, and I feel like it would be a huge benefit, a huge positive issue for Garland County to get this extension to where we can respond quicker to the emergency calls. Not only getting the deputies to the northern end of Garland County quicker, but also getting the deputies when they're responding from northern Garland County back into central and west and east Garland County. I think it's a big issue, and I think the residents, the voters of Garland County need to look at all the facts in this very carefully before they vote on the upcoming special election.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. I'm not opposed about roads and expansion and improvements in Garland County, but I'm very, very opposed to a 5/8 cent sales tax to respond to the state of Arkansas that has blackmailed us into putting up $30 million. And then the county's blackmailing the citizens to put up another, by offering another 20, so we do some things that'll benefit the other 85% of Garland County. I oppose the tax. I don't oppose what they're trying to do. They need to go back to the drawing board. There's plenty of ways to get to the village. There's plenty of ways to get to the hospitals. Yes, it might save a little time. I say at what cost? We're taxed enough already, perhaps too much already. I oppose this tax. I would like to see the quorum court and the county judge come back and talk to us about the improvements in Garland County and present us a measure that covers Garland County and not sending off $30 million to the state of Arkansas. Thank you.
My name is Ronnie Weaver. I'm the Director of Operations for LifeNet in Hot Springs Village. I'm here to answer questions about the new bypass and is there a possibility that it's a shorter distance and could it save lives? You know, as an EMS provider, I can't tell you whether it will save a life or not, but I can tell you that in time-sensitive emergencies or illnesses, strokes, heart attacks, trauma patients that need surgery, every second and every minute count.
How important is it to you for the county to approve this initiative?
Well, I think this is a good start to improving the county road infrastructure, and if you were sitting in my shoes and you see all the problems we have countywide, you would probably be doing the same thing I'm doing. There's so many things that need to be fixed out there. The bridges, the roads that don't drain well and wasn't constructed well in the beginning, and our maintenance budget just will not allow us to do any of that kind of stuff as far as upgrades. We're basically paving about 23 miles a year, and we ought to be paving 110 to keep up with the amount of roads we got. We're falling behind every year. So this is very important to me. And I appreciate your time, and I hope the public understands, gets the information on this issue, and if you have questions, feel free to email me or call me at my office. I'll be glad to come out and talk to small groups to get the information out. We just want to see the public have the right information so they can make a good decision. Thank you.
My name is Diane Silverman. I've lived in this community for a long time, and the judge clarified after the meeting that the jail tax that we voted on for the new jail, which that the tax would sunset, will sunset sometime later this year, and that the new tax that they're talking about will be a new tax. So that leads me to say, why don't we consider being taxed on specific projects that we decide that we want, rather than on the city and the state making decisions that we need to cough up 5/8 cents for the next 8 years in tax for projects that they decide they want to do. I just think we need to be more autonomous locally, and I hope the people in the community will really look into this issue and decide for themselves whether the county, whether the state and the federal government can determine or should determine what we need. If we live in Hot Springs and we don't think that the road to the village is necessary, I don't see why we would vote on that. And I think we should vote on a tax for things that we do see and need. That's all I have to say about that.